The NoviPro IT Break, 15 entertaining minutes with our experts on hot topics. They're designed to help you keep up to date on the latest IT trends.
Good afternoon. My name is Blake Riley. I'm an account manager here at NoviPro. My guest today will be Eduardo Hernandez from TrendMiner. Eduardo is a data analyst engineer and a subject matter expert. And this is episode number 44 of our IT break. And we will be discussing TrendMiner for production optimization through better analytics visibility. I'd like to welcome Eduardo. Good afternoon, Eduardo. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks, Blake. Thanks for having me.
Let's get right into our discussion about TrendMiner. So probably the best place to start would be, please tell us what TrendMiner is. What does it do, and how do customers benefit from using an analytics platform like this?
Sure. Well, TrendMiner is a self-service advanced analytics platform that specifically targets engineers, quality engineers, production engineers, operators, and other roles in the process industry, like in the chemical industry, oil and gas, pharmaceuticals, metals and minings as well, and others. Well, you might ask yourself, why self-service analytics? Well, it's a software that empowers users that do not have the knowledge of data scientists. So we give them tools that they can use to optimize their operations at the plant. And we give them tools so that they can better solve problems and issues that they might see on a daily basis.
Okay, great. And so how does TrendMiner connect to historians to make use of process data in a different way than from what something like OSI Pi does, for example?
Yeah, so I'll start by saying that TrendMiner is not meant to replace these historians and all the architecture that companies have put in place for storing time series data. What is true is that most of the times this data is underutilized. So companies are storing all of this data in databases, maybe for compliance purposes, maybe because they want to have it there in case they want to dive into the data if they have big issues emerging at the plant. What we do when we connect to these historians is that we create an index that optimizes the way this data is stored, so that that users can use it to search through years and years of data and perform various types of analytics, like, for example, a correlation analysis within seconds.
Okay, and so quite often, people just don't know what they don't know, and so when they're doing their jobs, they might experience the same old challenges like processing time, for example, because they're not aware of a tool like TrendMiner. What kind of challenges are they experiencing, before they, a tool like TrendMiner would be in place? And then what would their experience be utilizing a TrendMiner like tool?
Yeah, so I can say a couple of things on that topic. One of the things that we've seen over the years is that engineers tend to gravitate towards performing data analysis in spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are great. These are great tools for many different things, but these are not meant to handle vast amount of data. There's a few challenges with this approach, but even if engineers are able to analyze, for example, one strip of data, but they want to replicate that same analysis with another subset, it is not always easy to reproduce. So that is one of the things that self-service analytics, specifically TrendMiner, can help them do more efficiently by making all of the historical data readily available to do the same types of analytics they would do in Excel, or and much more in a fraction of the time that they would otherwise.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think I've heard you previously tell me about circumstances where it's taken somebody to go through a process where it's taken 3 weeks to actually discover something. whereas they use TrendMiner and it ends up being a 5-minute process.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Could you talk a little bit about specific use cases where TrendMiner has helped engineers? So I think specifically we had previously talked about, there'd be a use case for preventative maintenance versus a use case for like a processing function. Would you
Right.
mind?
Yeah, let me say three things, and then maybe we can talk about a specific use case. But the way I see TrendMiner helping our customers, it's in one of three types of use cases. First type of use case is one where the subject matter expert can leverage and use all that historical information, all of that historical data, with the use of different types of searches in TrendMiner to try to find what optimal condition looks like for their process. Then they can use it to compare with current operating conditions. From there, then they can recommend adjustments to their process to, of course, optimize their production of the plant. Of course, very close to that are our monitors, where that engineers can set up if they want to get notified whenever, let's say, unwanted conditions occur at the plant. Now, the second type of use case we often see is one where engineers start using TrendMiner for reporting purposes, which is one of the areas where they quickly see the value of TrendMiner, the value of self-service analytics in terms of time saving. Now, the third type of use case is, or the third way in which we help our customers is by giving them a platform where they can capture the results of their analysis, but also share them with other groups. Sharing information is very, very important in the industry. So having a tool that lets them not only do the analysis but also share those KPIs with other engineers, with management, for example, it's something that really adds value to the organization and also fosters, of course, collaboration.
Okay. And did you want to tell me a little bit about the specific use cases for which the tool would be used?
Yeah, so actually, just recently, I was helping a customer work on a use case where they were experiencing a drop in one of their KPIs over the last couple of weeks. So with TrendMiner's correlation analysis tools and layering capabilities, they were able to identify other parameters that seemed to have an effect over their KPI. From there, then they were able to recommend to operators and engineers the necessary adjustments that needed to be done to increase productivity back to normal operating conditions. They could have done this probably with some other tools, but it would have taken them weeks and weeks. Whereas with TrendMiner, they were able to investigate and reach a conclusion within hours.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's really impressive. I hear kind of that underlying story there that that they've got. I'm going to say a cost benefit analysis that that would come out of that story. Yeah, I'm wondering if you would happen to have examples of other savings where companies had experienced that cost analysis benefit as a direct result of having a better view to processes.
Yeah, so we often get that feedback from our customers on how TrendMiner is helping them solve use cases more efficiently, and also within a fraction of a time than they would otherwise. But the cost benefit of a software like TrendMiner, if you're solving good and valuable use cases, it's going to be payback of days, at most weeks. It's not going to be something that users will have to invest time and effort for years and years uh, to see a return on their investment.
Right,
Even a
right,
small
excellent.
improvement of even a small improvement of less than 1% in their process in efficiency can translate into thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. But
Yeah,
for our customers, yeah, if I may add one more thing, for our customers, one of the things we hear often is that Using self-service is shifting that mindset of engineers and subject matter experts to start approaching problems in a different way. And that's something you can really tie a ROI on.
Right, and I know that our listeners, it's essentially, our ROI needs to be built into these things in order for, for any sort of project to move forward. I think this is just simply one of those cases where you've got this tool that the ROI isn't 100% or 300%. It might be 1,000% or 10,000%. So
Right.
I think the cost benefit analysis is built in, and it really does need to be experienced in order to really really see it, right? Let me ask: is there anything else that you feel is important for us to discuss?
Yes, absolutely. Well, nowadays companies are paying more and more attention to the topic of machine learning, and companies have started building these expert groups of data scientists with coding knowledge in programming languages like Python, R, or other programs to help them predict things like quality, product quality, or other process parameters. So, giving that new wave that we've seen over the past couple of years, uh, with excitement towards these topics, we've enabled some cool new features in TrendMiner with the embedded notebooks, which facilitate these groups of experts with the scripting environments so that they can do more advanced analytics through machine learning or various modeling techniques. So that's something that we've seen um, more and more, and we definitely see our customers also adopting some of those more advanced analytics techniques and platforms.
Okay. You touched on this just previously. About the fact that it's kind of that engineer end user that would be using the tool. Let me ask it directly: how easy is it to use TrendMiner? Does the organization require a data scientist to run it?
Well, it definitely helps. If there's data scientists in a group, they will definitely learn how to use the tool, and they will also see some value in it. But no, most of our customers, the users are not data scientists. They're process engineers, operators. We even have panelists that use the TrendMiner features.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a very friendly. We have a very friendly user interface, and the learning curve, it's a pretty shallow one.
Okay, excellent. No, that's good to know. And just in terms of the background of TrendMiner itself, how long has TrendMiner been around?
Well, TrendMiner has been around for quite a few years. The founders of TrendMiner came out of Brussels in 2008, working as data scientist consultants for different companies. So they did that for quite some time. Then in 2014, they started building the application TrendMiner as we know it today. Of course, it has evolved since then. Uh, so we've been around for quite a few years. More recently, in 2018, we were bought by Software AG, which is our parent company, one of the most or one of the biggest software companies out of Europe.
Okay, yeah. I think a lot of people on the podcast today will have heard of Software AG. Does I'm keeping an eye on our time. We're getting close. I will ask one more question of you. In terms of TrendMiner, does it require any prerequisites in order to install? Do you know what I mean by
Yeah,
prerequisites? Like, like what needs to be in place, or will TrendMiner be something that can go pretty much in any processing or preventative maintenance environment?
yeah, any processing environment, they could definitely use TrendMiner. TrendMiner can be installed either on premise or in the cloud. But in addition to that, as long as they have some time series data that they store in some database, we can definitely grab that data, and they would benefit themselves from using a self-service analytics tool like TrendMiner.
Okay, great. I think we'll leave it there. That's really all the time we have. We're coming up on 15 minutes. So thank you, Eduardo, for joining me today on our 44th edition of NoviPro's IT Break.
You want access to a range of cutting-edge information? Go to our online content area at hub.novipro.com.